Hey guys, and welcome back to another Warship Wednesday with me. So, we are now doing a model which I have recently finished, basically, guys. We're up to date. Uh, um, yes, we are officially up to date. I say recently because I actually built this earlier on in the year. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I give you a ship which I actually have been wanting to get my hands on for a very long time. She's the only light cruiser in my fleet, well, at the moment as it is. I give you HMS Belfast, guys. 1/350 scale, the Royal Navy. Look at her, isn't she stunning? So, obviously, there is a bit of history with Belfast. There is a bit of history in my part of things, and also, there was always a bit of history of me getting the model kit and the various versions I had built before this one. So sit back and relax while I tell you HMS Belfast's history in World War Two, and then we'll go on with the model as always. So HMS Belfast is a town class light cruiser. She and HMS Edinburgh, her sister, were two of a kind in their own class of ships. Now the town class, they have many derivatives, and this is where things can generally get confusing for some people. But let's be known, the HMS Belfast and HMS Edinburgh were unique not just because of one or two standouts that the other town classes had, but because of their weaponry. You see, the town class were armed with 6-inch guns, and that's nothing special to be fair, because a 6-inch gun still packs a punch, but obviously the town class of this type packed a bit more punch than the others. You see, HMS Belfast and Edinburgh were armed not just with 2 or 3 triple barrel turrets, they were armed with actually 4 triple barrel turrets, 2 forward and 2 aft. And their firepower was a bit more significant to their other sisters and derivatives of the town class. And obviously, at the time, they were considered, I believe, the most modern light cruiser in the Royal Navy. Don't quote me on that one, guys, obviously. I don't remember it too well. But I think the term goes, if you were to choose HMS Tiger or HMS Belfast, I think people would have chosen HMS Belfast, because Tiger, yeah, not very good. Even though she was moderner and, well, we won't talk about that shit. Let's move on. So, HMS Belfast was laid down on the 10th of December 1936, when her keel was laid down. She was launched on the 17th of March 1938 and ready by the 3rd of August 1939, so just a few short months before World War II was declared. Actually, I think no, just a month before World War II was just declared. Unfortunately for HMS Belfast, she would not start the war fighting. She hit a mine very early on in the war, and it did some significant damage to the keel. Now, for those who are wondering what the keel means, because I can imagine it's a bit, Baz, what the heck is a keel? What's that? So, imagine your spine, and that's basically what the ship has, is its spine. So this mine managed to, I kid you not, managed to do some serious damage to the spine of HMS Belfast just under the second gun turret. It buckled it, and at first, when they did stick her in dry dock, the Admiralty was considering scrapping her on the spot. Yeah, bless. Can you imagine scrapping a ship that's barely even a couple of weeks old on the spot, all because of some mine damage? Obviously, this did not happen. She was fully repaired and operational, and she came back fighting. Not only that, she she was part of the task force that helped deal with battlecruiser Scharnhorst, and did some significant punching there. And then she moved on to Normandy, where she was used as a bombardment ship and caused damage there. And obviously, she was helping in the convoys with the Russian. She was helping with Russian convoys, among other things. And then, her career didn't end there. She did survive right to the end of World War Two. Then she was put in the reserve fleet for a little while. Then she was used as a ship in the fight in the Korean warfare. Then after that, she was put back in the reserve. And, well, basically they were considering scrapping her. But people were like, no, don't scrap Belfast. For goodness sake, stop scrapping all of our cool looking ships. I have to say this, guys, as much as I do love HMS Belfast, I wish we kept Warspite, because there's just some characteristics about that ship that just, you can't compare with Belfast, but they're both cool ships nevertheless. Anyway, she still sits with us today in London on the River Thames, and I've visited her multiple times. And I have to say, if you guys are thinking about visiting Belfast in London, I do recommend it. It's chock full of history. Obviously, she's very authentic, very clean, very well maintained. I must say, she's one of the most maintained museum ships I've ever seen. But I don't see many because obviously I live in Britain. I don't get a chance to see any of my other favourite ships in America. I want to one day, but we'll see. So, the town class as a whole, let's talk a bit about their displacement and other bits and pieces. So, obviously these were treaty-era cruisers, just like most other ships of the time, which means the displacement of this particular town class derivative, very light. I say very light. Light enough, let's just put it that way. They had a displacement between 11,550 tonnes to 14,900 tonnes. The overall length of Belfast and Edinburgh was 613 feet 6 inches long, or 186.99 metres in the length. The beam was 63 feet 4 inches, or 19.3 metres, and the draft was 18 feet 3 inches, or 5.56 metres. Both ships had an installed propulsion power of just over 80,000 shaft horsepower, or 60,000 kilowatts of power, and this was produced by 4 Admiralty oil-fired boilers in, 3 drum boilers, with 4 Parsons geared steam turbines doing the work, and they could produce a top speed of 32 knots, which is 37 miles per hour going down a road. So imagine being a police car trying to pull the ship over for its speed limit. Remember that she's 613 feet long. Yeah, you're not going to win. She's definitely getting a speeding ticket. HMS Belfast had a crew of anywhere between 781 to 881 enlisted men and officers. And as for the weapon systems and belt armour and all that lot, well, start off with, obviously we mentioned, she had 12 6-inch guns and triple barrel turrets, so you had 2 forward aft here and 2 aft there. She was backed up by 4.9-inch guns, and these were mounted in the centre here. As you can see, she's got a couple of those in the centre. These were dual purpose, so there'd be both anti-aircraft and anti-ship guns going on there. You can see she's got 40mm Bofors. She had a couple of these across the whole ship, backed up by a bunch of other machine guns and bits and pieces. Orlicans, you can see sitting down there in some little tubs there. And just to add insult to injury, you can't see it on my model of a base on HMS Belfast, guys, and I do apologise for this, but behind those canvas bits, just here, there are 2 torpedo launchers. They're triple barrelled, so she could throw torpedoes at a target, and these torpedoes weren't tiny either. The torpedo tubes themselves were 533mm, or 21 inches to be precise, so they packed a punch. So obviously it's worth mentioning HMS Edinburgh, because obviously she has a little bit of a significant side to her story as well. She survived a good portion of the war, only to be sunk, ironically, by her crew, I do believe. I don't remember all the details off top, but she had some significant damage done to her. There was gold on board, and the crew scuttled her, just to, well, I think it was to keep it out of German hands or Italian hands. I don't remember the details, guys. But yeah, she sank, unfortunately, and that's HMS Edinburgh's history, really. If you guys want to elaborate a bit more, feel free to in the comment section below, because my history on her is a little niche, as you can probably tell. So, Belfast as a model kit. Where do I start? So, ironically enough, HMS Belfast is actually my very first ship model kit I ever built. No, not as a 1350. That was that was USS Indianapolis and the Polar. That was my first 1350 scale model cruisers of any type of warship at 1350 scale. No, I am referring to Airfix's very adored, very very much loved. I say that with a smile because I know some people did not enjoy that kit at all. I personally did. I thought it was quite good. But it's a 1/600 scale model of her. And that's where my fascination of Belfast began, with that 1/600 scale model kit. You see, it was my very first trip I went on to HMS Belfast. They were selling the 1600 in the local shop there. Picked one up, brought her, painted her, built her and painted her, and I was very happy with her for a while. But as you guys well and truly know, the smaller kits just don't appeal to me that much anymore these days, although one or two do stand out because of exceptions. As for Belfast, originally I was going to go after the trumpeter model of HMS Belfast because it's the only company I knew at the time that actually did a model kit of her. That is until Christmas last year. So I went into Dorking model shops and I saw two ships in particular. One we're going to be talking about next time round, but the other is this beauty right here. And here she is. So as you can see, this is a model company which you may or may not know, but I can tell you a little bit about their history because I have built model kits of them before. They're called Adventures in Plastic, in case you guys are wondering what that says there, or AIP for short. Now, I built the Thunderbirds from this company, believe it or not, and the Thunderbirds were fantastic models to build. So when I saw this, I was like, ooh, this is going to be interesting to build because not only is it going to have little to no photo etch, the parts are going to be clean, there's going to be little to no fitting issues going on, and on top of that, you know, it's a good looking model kit, and I love the paint job on this box. So there's your reference material for you there, guys. She was not cheap though, I will say this. If you guys are after, well, I say the trumpeter one is a little bit less expensive. This one, it cost me, I think it was £89 in total. But, is it a recommendation? Yes, it definitely is, because it's not a bad kit. This model of HMS Belfast fitted together very, very well, guys. Like I say, little to no photo etch parts, although I wish I had a full set of railings to go around the edge because it just looks so bland without those railings. But as you can see, the photo etch parts go into not only, you know, the ladders down there, you can see the range finders and other bits of equipment in the bridge tower there, the small tower on the top there, that's about 5 or 6 photo etch bits, would you believe it or not. The masts and the cranes aren't made of photo etch, but you'd be surprised. More photo etch back here, as you can see, on more of the anti-aircraft systems and other bits and pieces, more of the ladders and other bits and pieces as well. But like I say, little to no photo etch parts, so I'm not complaining, not really, guys, no, I'm happy. You know I don't like photo etch as a whole. If I can avoid it, I will, but if it's crucial to detail, it's needed. So yeah, I do recommend this model of HMS Belfast to anybody who is interested in it, guys. As for the paint job, well, that's another story. My model of HMS Belfast may look like it's covered in Royal Navy Grey, but I can definitely assure you she is not Royal Navy Grey. That colour, not Royal Navy Grey, oh god, guys, I tell you, it's a pain in the backside to get my hands on. I don't know how I managed to get 4 tins of the stuff from Tamiya back in early 2017-2018 when I was building HMS Hood, because, well, obviously that was a big 1/200 scale model kit, which means I needed a lot of Royal Navy Grey paint to do it with. So you think over the last couple of years I would have kept a tin or two aside? Well, no, unfortunately I didn't have any Royal Navy Grey aside for anything. The last time I used my Royal Navy Grey would have been on my previous model of HMS Warspite, not the one you saw already done, the one that got severely damaged in the move when that was going on during the COVID pandemic. So I had to do some research when I was painting this, guys, and I was having headaches galore because I wanted to get that grey. You know, I wanted it to look that grey. And yes, you can see, unfortunately, some of the photo etch bits that the Stiv model come with. This is what I call the ugly side of my model. I'm not sure why the glue melted and it's done what it's done there, but it has unfortunately dripped down one side of the bridge. Anyway, enough about that. The grey in question is actually a Humbrol grey, and it's a Humbrol 64 grey, which is the closest thing I could find to Royal Navy Grey, and I'm so glad I've actually found something that's close, because when I do build, and I do mean this, when I do build future Royal Navy warships, and yes, I'm looking at you, I'm looking at you, Royal Oak, I am looking at you, Hood, and I'm looking at 1 or 2 other ships in a particular future. I'm going to need that grey because it needs to be uniformed, otherwise it just does not work. I mean, alternatively, guys, I could just work with other colours if I wanted to. There are other options out there. Not all the Royal Navy warships were Royal Navy grey. I mean, obviously the depiction of Belfast here is with a camouflage, which originally I was thinking of doing, but I didn't have all these colours on hand, so I didn't want to obviously muck that up. I wanted the ship to look pristine, clean and gorgeous, which she obviously is. Oxide red obviously for the bottom of the hull, matte black for any black pieces, and as for the deck, you can probably just make out a little bit of a wash in places. But the brown in question is 64 brown by a Humbrol as well. At least I think it was 64. I know it was something 60. But yeah, use that as the base colour for the deck. Then I backed up with a small light brown wash to bring out the deck plating. So you guys can see she does have some nice decking on there. So you don't need a extra deck unless you want to do that sort of thing. Dark sea grey for all the decks that are not wooden, and obviously canvas was done with a white, and obviously a little bit of gold to go with the rest of it there. The flags, so unfortunately this is where the only thing I didn't like about this model kit was the plans. I understood where most parts had to go, but for a good portion of the end of the build I had to figure some of it out for myself. So I basically did a little bit of looking up online and things and went with it. The flags in particular were a bit of a pain in the backside because it did not specifically say on where things are supposed to go. Now I should know where the Royal Navy ensigns and that go, and I do apologise if I've got it wrong, guys, but if this ship does not scream the Royal Navy at you, I don't know why. I've got 2 Union Jacks on both masts there, and obviously I've got 2 ensigns, one on the stern and one on the bow there as well. So again, this ship has definitely got flags indicating where she's from. Overall, guys, I'm very impressed with this model kit, as I said before. I do recommend very lovely in detail, and yeah, that's basically all I had to say about it, really. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this review of HMS Belfast, and I will see you in the next one. In the meantime, guys, have a nice week and have a nice weekend. Look after yourselves and take care. Ta-ta for now.